We say it all the time. Oh, Lord. Lord have mercy. Good Lord. The word is everywhere. It's a placeholder, a sigh, a way to express surprise or frustration. We use it without thinking. It's just part of our language, like or well. But for the first people who followed Jesus, Lord was the most important, most dangerous, and most hope-filled word they could say. It wasn't a casual title. It wasn't like calling someone sir or mister. It was a complete statement of belief. It was a declaration of allegiance that changed everything about their lives. To call Jesus Lord was to say something massive about who he is and who you are in relation to him. It's a word that contains a whole world of meaning. It's about power and authority, but also about safety and love. It's about history and politics, but it's also deeply personal. Understanding what they meant when they said Jesus is Lord helps us understand the core of the Christian faith. It's more than a title. It's the whole point. To really get it, we have to step back in time. We need to see the world they lived in. It was a world run by Rome. The Roman Empire was the superpower of its day. And at the head of that empire was Caesar. Caesar wasn't just a political leader. He was seen as a divine figure. He was the one who brought peace, the one who held the world together. The official slogan of the empire, the pledge of allegiance you might say, was Caesar is Lord. This wasn't just a political statement, it was a religious one. You were expected to offer a pinch of incense and declare Caesar is Lord as a sign of your loyalty to the empire. It was a way of saying that Caesar had ultimate authority. He was the one in charge of your life, your nation, your future. He was the ultimate power. For most people, this was no big deal. It was just what you did to get by. It was a civic duty like paying taxes, but the early Christians couldn't do it. They refused, and their refusal got them into a lot of trouble. They were seen as traitors, as rebels, as atheists, because they wouldn't acknowledge the Roman gods or the divinity of the emperor. Why? Because they had a different lord. Their core confession, the shortest and most powerful summary of their faith, was Jesus is Lord. When they said this, they were making a direct political challenge. They were saying Caesar is not the ultimate authority. The Roman military is not the ultimate power. The economy, the culture, the government, none of it is the final word. Jesus is. Jesus is the one who is truly in charge of the world. He is the real king. Imagine the courage that took. You're a regular person, a craftsman, a fisherman, a homemaker. You're standing before a Roman official. All you have to do is say two words. Caesar is Lord, and you can go home to your family. But you can't, because you believe something else. You believe a carpenter from a backwater town who was executed by the Roman state is the actual Lord of the universe. So you say, justice is Lord. And you know that saying it might cost you your property, your freedom, or even your life. Well, this tells us the first layer of what Lord means. It means ultimate allegiance. It's a choice about who sits on the throne. We all have a throne in our lives. We all give our ultimate allegiance to something. It might be a political party, a nation, a career, our family, or even just our own desires and ambitions. But something is in that number one spot. The first Christians understood that to call Jesus Lord meant that he was on the throne, and everything else, including the most powerful man on earth, had to be secondary. It wasn't that they were anti-government. The Apostle Paul told them to respect the authorities and pay their taxes. But they understood that the government's authority was temporary and limited. God's authority was ultimate and eternal. So, when the government asked them to do something that went against their ultimate allegiance to Jesus, they had to choose. They chose Jesus. Calling Jesus Lord was a political statement. It was a declaration of citizenship in a different kind of kingdom. But that's only half the story. And it's not even the most important half. Most of the first Christians were Jewish. They grew up with the Hebrew scriptures, what we call the Old Testament. They had a deep, rich understanding of God. And there was one thing that was absolutely central to their faith. There is only one God. He is the creator of the heavens and the earth. He is holy and all-powerful. He had a special name, a name so holy they wouldn't even say it out loud. In Hebrew, it was written with 4 letters, Yah. We sometimes pronounce it as Yahweh or Jehovah. When they read their scriptures aloud, they wouldn't dare say this name. Out of respect and awe, they would substitute another word. The word they used was Adonai, which simply means Lord. Around 200 years before Jesus was born, many Jews were scattered around the world and spoke Greek, not Hebrew. So their scriptures were translated into Greek. This translation is called the Septuagint. And when the translators came to God's holy name, Yihweh, they had to decide what to do. They followed the tradition, they substituted a Greek word. The word they chose was Kyrios. Kyrios is the Greek word for Lord. So for centuries, whenever a Greek-speaking Jewish person heard the word Kyrios in the scriptures, their mind went to one place, you, the one true God. Kyrios was the stand-in for the sacred, unspeakable name of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, Fast forward to the time of the apostles. They are writing about Jesus. They are trying to explain who he is. And what word do they use for him over and over again? Kyrios, Lord. When they called Jesus Kyrios, they weren't just calling him seer or master. They were doing something radical, something that would have been shocking, even blasphemous to many of their fellow Jews. So they were using the very name they used for God the Father and applying it to Jesus. Think about the implications. Paul, in his letter to the Philippians, quotes a famous passage from the prophet Isaiah. In Isaiah, God says, "To me every knee will bow, every tongue will confess." It's a powerful declaration of the ultimate sovereignty of you. Paul takes that exact verse and applies it directly to Jesus. He writes that God has exalted Jesus so that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. He's not being subtle. He is saying that Jesus is the one to whom every knee will bow. The honor and worship that belongs to God alone now belongs to Jesus. When Thomas, after doubting the resurrection, finally sees the risen Jesus, he falls down and says, "My Lord and my God." He gets it. The two words are linked. To call Jesus Lord is to call him God. This is the second deeper layer of meaning. Calling Jesus Lord is a theological statement. It's a declaration of his divinity. It's saying that this man who walked the earth, who ate and slept and felt pain, is also the eternal God who created the universe. He is not just a great teacher or a prophet or a good example. He is Yah in the flesh. This changes everything. If Jesus is just a good man, then his teachings are good advice. We can take them or leave them. But if he is Lord, if he is God, then his words are not advice. They are truth, they are life, they have ultimate authority because he has ultimate authority. So we have these two massive ideas packed into one little word. Lord means ultimate allegiance over every earthly power. And Lord means ultimate reality, that Jesus is divine. The first Christians held both these truths together, and it powered their movement. They could stand up to Caesar because their true Lord was God himself. This is all fascinating history, but what does it mean for us today? We don't live under the Roman Empire. Most of us don't have to worry about being thrown to the lions for our faith. So does calling Jesus Lord still have the same weight? Absolutely. The circumstances have changed, but the principle hasn't. The confession, Jesus is Lord, is still a radical claim about where we place our ultimate allegiance and what we believe about ultimate reality. It has profound implications for every part of our lives. First, if Jesus is Lord, he is Lord of my decisions. This is where it gets very practical and sometimes very uncomfortable. It's easy to say Jesus is Lord in a church service. It's much harder to live it out on a Tuesday afternoon when you're making a choice about your career, your finances, or a relationship. To say Jesus is Lord means that my life is not my own. I have been bought with a price, as Paul says. The throne of my life is no longer vacant, and I am no longer sitting on it. He is. This means that my plans, my desires, my ambitions all have to be submitted to him. It's not about asking Jesus to bless my plans. It's about asking him what his plans are, and then getting on board with them. This sounds like a loss of freedom. And in a way it is. It's the freedom to mess up my own life. It's the freedom to be my own little God, making decisions based on my limited wisdom and selfish desires. But in another way, it's the beginning of true freedom. It's freedom from the crushing pressure of having to figure everything out on my own. It's freedom from the anxiety of making the perfect choice. When Jesus is Lord of my decisions, I can ask, what would honor you in this situation? What would be the most loving thing to do here? Which path leads toward your kingdom, not just my own comfort? These questions change the whole equation. My career is no longer just about making money or climbing the ladder. It becomes a platform to serve God and others. My money is no longer just for my own security and pleasure. It becomes a tool to be used for his purposes. My relationships aren't just about what I can get out of them. Okay? They become opportunities to show his love. This doesn't mean God will give you a detailed blueprint for every little choice. It's more about the posture of your heart. Is your heart oriented toward your own will or his? Are you constantly actively surrendering your right to be in charge? It's a daily, sometimes hourly, process of stepping off the throne and letting him take his rightful place. Second, if Jesus is Lord, he is Lord of my identity. We live in a world that is obsessed with identity. We are constantly trying to define ourselves. We build our identity based on our job, our family, our accomplishments, our political views, our social media profile, our successes, and our failures. The problem is, all of those things are shaky. If your identity is in your job, what happens when you lose it? If it's in your physical appearance, what happens when you get older? If it's in your success, what happens when you fail? To say Jesus is Lord is to say that my primary identity is found in him. I am a child of God. I am loved. I am forgiven. I am a citizen of his kingdom. That is the bedrock reality of my life. Everything else is secondary. This is incredibly liberating. It means my worth is not based on my performance. It's not based on what other people think of me. My worth is based on what he says about me. And he says, I am his. This frees me from the endless, exhausting treadmill of trying to prove myself. I don't have to be the smartest or the most successful or the most popular. I just have to be his. When you fail, and you will, it doesn't crush you. Your failure is a part of your story, but it's not the definition of you. Your identity is secure in your Lord, who loves you even in your weakness. When you succeed, it doesn't go to your head. Your success is a gift, an opportunity to give him glory, but it's not who you are. Your Lord is the source of your strength and your gifts. This creates a deep stability that the world cannot offer. Your identity is anchored in something eternal and unchanging. Third, if Jesus is Lord, he is Lord of my struggles. We all have them. Anxiety, fear, depression, addiction, chronic pain, grief. Life is hard. And our natural tendency is to think we have to handle these things on our own. We try to power through, we try to ignore them, we try to fix them with our own strength. To confess Jesus is Lord is to acknowledge that he is sovereign even over the broken parts of our lives. It means he is with us in the middle of the mess. He is not a distant deity who is only interested in us when we have it all together. He is the Lord who entered into our suffering. He is the Lord who was a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. Saying he is Lord of my struggles doesn't mean the struggles magically disappear. Sometimes they do, but often they don't. What it means is that we are not alone in them. It means that even in the darkest valley, the shepherd is with us. It means that he can use our struggles for our good and his glory in ways we could never imagine. It's an act of trust. It's saying, God, I don't understand this. This hurts. I don't see a way out. But I believe you are Lord even of this. You are in control, even when my life feels out of control. I will trust you. This kind of surrender doesn't eliminate the pain, but it robs the pain of its ultimate power. The struggle no longer has the final word. Jesus does. He is Lord over sin, and he is Lord over suffering. And ultimately, because of his resurrection, he is Lord over death itself. This leads to the final personal implication. If Jesus is Lord, he is Lord of my future. The world offers us 1,000 things to be afraid of. Economic collapse, political instability, environmental disaster, personal health crises. It's easy to live in a state of low-grade or even high-grade anxiety about what's coming next. We try to secure our future by saving enough money, making the right connections, and planning for every contingency. But we all know, deep down, that our control is an illusion. To say Jesus is Lord is to place your ultimate hope and security in him. He is the one who holds the future. The Bible calls him the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He was there before time began, and he will be there after it's all over. Our lives are in his hands. This doesn't mean we should be passive or foolish. We should still work hard and plan wisely. But our ultimate trust is not in our plans, it's in him. This is the peace that passes all understanding. It's a quiet confidence that no matter what happens in the world, no matter what happens to our personal fortunes, our ultimate future is secure in him. The Lord of the universe is our shepherd, and he will lead us home. Now, all of this sounds wonderful, and it is, but we have to be honest. It's also incredibly difficult. There is a reason the path is described as narrow. The biggest obstacle to Jesus being Lord of our lives is us. We want to be Lord. We are born with a deep-seated desire to sit on the throne of our own lives. We want to be in control. We want to call the shots. Every single day is a battle for that throne. We might give it to him in the morning, but by lunchtime, we've quietly pushed him aside and taken the seat back for ourselves. We make a decision without consulting him. We react in anger based on our own pride. We nurse a secret sin because we don't want to surrender that part of our lives to him. We worry and fret about the future as if he's not in control. The Christian life is a constant process of abdication. It's a continuous conscious choice to get off the throne. It's a daily surrender. Some days we do it well, other days we fail miserably, but the call remains the same. Jesus is Lord. It's a confession we have to make not just once at a conversion experience, but 1,000 times a day in the small choices and the quiet moments. It's a reorienting of our entire being away from ourselves and toward him. Why would anyone choose this life of surrender? It sounds hard. It sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like we lose something. We do. We lose the illusion of control. We lose the burden of being our own God. But what we gain is so much greater. We gain the one thing we were made for, a right relationship with our Creator. And this is the most beautiful part of the whole thing. The one we call Lord is not a tyrant. He is not a harsh dictator who demands our submission for his own ego. Who is this Lord? He is the one who washed his disciples' feet. He is the one who welcomed little children. He is the one who ate with tax collectors and prostitutes. He is the good shepherd who lays down his life for his sheep. He is the king, whose crown was made of thorns. He is the Lord whose throne was a cross. His authority is not based on raw power, but on self-giving love. He exercises his lordship through service and sacrifice. He doesn't just command us from on high, he came down to be with us. He lived the life we should have lived and died the death we deserve to die. His resurrection proved that he is who he said he was, the Lord of life and death. So when we call him Lord, we are not submitting to a fearsome cosmic emperor. We are entrusting ourselves to the one who loves us more than we can possibly imagine. We are placing our lives into the hands of the one who has the nail scars to prove his love. Surrendering to a Lord like that is not a burden. It is a relief. It's not a loss of freedom. It's finding the only true freedom there is. It's coming home. So what does it mean to call Jesus a Lord? It means he has our ultimate allegiance more than any government, any ideology, any person, or even ourselves. It means we believe he is God, the creator and sustainer of the universe, worthy of all our worship. And it means he is the center of our personal lives. He is the Lord of our decisions, our identity, our struggles, and our future. It's a lifelong, moment-by-moment process of surrender, of choosing his will over our own. It's a challenge, because our own pride fights against it every step of the way. But it is also our greatest comfort, because this Lord is good, and he is loving, and he is for us. The next time you hear someone say, "Oh Lord," maybe it will sound a little different. Maybe you'll remember what that word really means. It's not just a word, it's a confession that changes everything. It is the key that unlocks the meaning of the universe and the purpose of your life. Jesus is Lord. There are no three words more powerful, more challenging, or more full of hope.